स्लाइड से हो जाएगा क्या?
हाँ बस
एजेंडा है पीछे।
निकल दो क्या देखना है आपको?
नहीं नहीं देखना नहीं है, वीडियो है लास्ट वाला वीडियो किया ना तुमने?
हाँ वही वो
ठीक है,
Formlabs का
हाँ ठीक है देखना नहीं।
ये दिखा देना कि मतलब द रीजन वाई वी आर नाउ प्रमोटिंग द Formlabs and फिर मतलब वाई
नहीं
Formlabs
नहीं,
can
तो
be
वही
key।
बताएंगे कि हाँ ये सब चैलेंजेस कवर करने के लिए दीज आर द टेक्नोलॉजीज विच आर सपोर्टिंग ना, ऐसी है ना?
हाँ वही है ना
ऑडियो है उसमें क्या?
हाँ पूरा
हाँ है, अच्छा है, पीछे
हाँ
जाना। हाँ ओके,
इसके वो
हाँ
सस्टेनेबिलिटी
ठीक
के
है ठीक
बारे
है
में
ठीक है ठीक
फिर आप
है, गॉट इट। ठीक है ठीक।
शुक्र हो रहा
वहीं से करेंगे हम पहले। ओके स्टार्ट।
है या
Good evening, everyone. I think we have everybody's attention. Good evening. I'm Anuj Budhiraja from Philips Additive. Hi, good evening. I lead the additive manufacturing business for Philips, India, Middle East, and Malaysia. I would like to welcome you all on behalf of Philips and Formlabs. A warm welcome, and thank you all. To be really exciting for everybody. We'll learn from you. You will learn from the new technology which is coming up. So before we start on the next 2 hours, just a brief about the agenda. I'm going to take max 10 minutes just to set the context up, and then I'll invite Formlabs team. It will be followed by product unveiling as well as product demonstrations, and then some of the industry examples and the applications where customers have already started using additive manufacturing in core of their design and production facilities. So before we move on to the launch, just to set the context up, I'm sure most of you would be aware about 3D printing. It has different names. In last 10 years, you may be hearing about rapid prototyping, additive manufacturing, layer by layer manufacturing, RPT. So there are different names of the technology which you may be hearing throughout next 1.5 to 2 hours presentation. But let me just talk about some of the manufacturing trends and challenges which we are observing and seeing in last 3+ years. It could be post-pandemic, it could be because of the global unrest in terms of political environment. So there are a lot of new trends and new challenges which has come up in the manufacturing industries. Starting from the supply chain. I'm sure most of the manufacturers, most of the people who are from manufacturing companies sitting in this room may have faced some of the other challenges by waiting for the part for even weeks or the months as well to arrive. So when we talk about supply chain, there could be some scenarios where we are filled up with the inventory, but the products are not being sold, or there are machines who are waiting for the parts to arrive. In both the situations, there are losses in the overall business. So this is a challenge which the industry is going through or observing in the last few years, rising cost. It could be a raw material cost. The metal prices in last 3 to 4 years has gone really high in terms of manufacturing cost because of the raw material cost. As per the study, 57% of the businesses, they have seen this effect of cost some of the time when the customer comes to you with an RFQ. Do you know when they want the product delivery? As of yesterday. So this is the scenario everywhere, time to market. So everybody wants to launch the product as quickly as possible to get the early mover advantage. Another big challenge is coming up, the skilled labor shortage, because of which there are a lot of production orders which are not happening on time, a lot of deliveries are being delayed. This is another challenge in the industry. And sustainability. Although 90% of the executives in the organizations, they talk about sustainability strategy, but hardly 60% of the companies are able to implement some kind of strategy to be more environment friendly. Now there are these kind of industry challenges which each and every industry is facing, each and every industry. And now I'm not saying that we are going to solve each and every of these challenges, but at least few of the things can definitely be looked into. Like if we talk about supply chain. So if there is a there is a machine which is still waiting for a part to be arriving from maybe somewhere in Europe or US. So can we print that part? And now at the same time, can we print the part at the point of need, where it is being more sustainable to the environment? No parts are flying around the world just to get this machine up and running. You can directly print it there. So the additive manufacturing as a technology has gone beyond rapid prototyping. It is moving towards the digital manufacturing. So as a partner with Formlabs, just a small video where it is showing like 10 years ago when Formlabs were being started, how they started it, and then how they moved from prototyping going up to the production scenarios where there are companies who are printing thousands and millions of the parts directly being used in the industry, used in the product. So it's a complete journey from 2010 to today. You can see it is touching each and every kind of industry. I remember when I entered into additive manufacturing industry around 10 years ago, people used to think that it is only for automobile companies or aerospace companies. Now you won't believe the kind of industries who have already started and implementing these technology for multiple applications, starting from prototyping, going up to tools, jigs, fixtures, end-use parts, production parts. So this technology is touching every industry across different applications. We have seen customers who bought the printer or implemented this technology only for prototyping. Within 3 months, they started using it for the tools also. Within 3 months, they started printing some of the molds, some of the conformal cooling tools. So lots of application which our application expert Suman is going to take you through. Before I move to our next speaker, just few slides about Philips, who we are, what we do. We are a 62-year-old company in supplying and supporting our customers with the manufacturing technology. We are a 100% subsidiary of Philips Corporation US. In India, we have around 15 technical centers, around workforce of around 400 people, 15,000 plus machines installed, all with subtractive and additive put together. Different key business domains which we are touching is metal cutting, metal forming, additive, automation, supply chain management. From India, we are managing Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, India, Middle East, and Malaysia. Now this is another interesting vertical which we have started is education division, which is a part of Philips Education Global Initiative. So as we are talking about all these challenges, so in last few years what we have seen that we are one of the solution provider to the industry with all the advanced manufacturing technologies, be it in subtractive, be it in additive. Now every customer wants a ready-made manpower. They don't want to be a institute providing the training for 6 months or 1 year and the trainees are going away after a year. So this is the initiative which was being taken to bridge that gap. So this is initiative where we are talking to institutes and universities, and then we are connecting them to the industry also. We are providing the consulting for center of excellence setup. And there are multiple reasons for the skill gaps which we have seen like in last 30 years how the technology has been growing and moving towards basics to mid-level to the advanced level. So in education division of Philips, what we are doing is talking to universities as well as institutes, helping them to set up center of excellence with the latest technologies which are there, which are the need for today and tomorrow, and then helping them to connect with the industry as well. So every center of excellence has its different objective, different delivery areas. But for us, the idea is to bridge that gap where we are saying that there is a skilled labor shortage. So what we are going to do about it? As a technology provider, we are helping them to have the ready-made manpower. We are helping them to upgrade their manpower with the new skills, with the new technologies. So that one of their challenges is also being catered, which is a skill gap or the skill shortage also. So with this, I will hand it over to Mr. Ramneesh Sharma, who is the country manager for Formlabs, He's going to take you through some of the applications and some of the details about the Formlabs. And next 1.5 hours, I'm sure you are going to see a lot of amazing things which you may have not experienced so far. But one thing I can say that once you go back in the evening, you will have some impression in your mind about the additive manufacturing technology. This is the kind of application which you are going to see in next 1.5 hours. Thank you.
Uh, Hi, my name is Ramneesh. I take care of India business for Formlabs. Thank you, Anuj, for setting the tone and highlighting the industry challenges. And that's why we are here to check and see how do we address those challenges with Philips and Formlabs together. So I'll just brief you about Formlabs, what we do, and for how long we are doing it, what is the next in store, and this is about Formlabs today. We have close to 130K plus printers installed globally, 300 million plus components, and these figures are going up every day with 130K plus printers in the field. Every day they are printing, and this is the data which is there just online. I'm sure that this figure is more than 500 million plus components. We have offices across 65 different countries, and you can see 800 employees. And Formlabs was started in 2011. A few young guys from MIT, Boston, they started Formlabs with the very simple idea that 3D printers which were available earlier, either they were at priced very high in the top end, or they were at very low end version. So there was nothing in the middle. So you can see the printers in the 4 crore, 5 crore range, or 10 crore range, or there are printers which are only sub 1 lakh printers, which are not doing the job for the industry. So that's how the Formlabs came up with the idea that, how do we make printers which are industry ready, and where we know that, these are professional grade 3D printers which can do the job for the industry, but are not expensive and very, very much affordable. So that's how they started and came up with the first product called Form 1. Why this figure when I talk about 1,30,000 printers in the field? I think I'm seeing this figure from last 1 year. I'm sure this figure is much higher than that now. If we put across all the 3D printing companies out there, they are not even 50% of this number. So Formlabs is by far the leader in the professional 3D printing space. And when I talk about 300 or 400, okay, sorry. Yeah, so when I talk about 300 million or 400 million plus components printing, so these are the systems which are online where we can see that what our customers they are, what they are doing, how they are printing it, how successful they are. We are not accessing their data, but it's just the back end figures we are getting, that how much printing is done at what locations, what they are doing. And this gives us the confidence that how do we improve on our systems, how do we make our systems better in terms of software, what kind of hardware upgrades we can make, and what the customers are demanding in terms of materials, in terms of product enhancements, in terms of making the printers faster or more reliable or more repeatable. So this figure gives us the confidence and make us to improve our technology every day. Yes, I talked about we have, okay. Yeah, so offices all across the globe. This slide I would like to emphasize. We have two technologies. One is SLA, which is stereolithography, and another is SLS, which is selective laser sintering. So we cater to only two different technologies. And in SLA, we have two SKUs, only two SKUs. One is desktop printer, which is the new product right now, what we are unveiling today, the desktop printer, and another is a benchtop printer. All other products, these are the post-processing equipments. And in SLS, we have one single printer, it's called Fuse 1 Plus printer. Why? The question is, since we are in the field from last 12, 13 years, why we are not coming up with the multiple SKUs, more number of printers, with different bed sizes, different material options. So idea is very simple here. We want to make sure that we have very less SKUs, so that all our R&D, mind you, I can tell you that we have close to 400 engineers working in the R&D space. That itself is leading in the industry. Nobody is investing that kind of dollars into the R&D space. So when we have less number of SKUs, just in case of, if I take example of iPhones or Tesla, they are not coming up with the 20, 30, 40 models what other car companies are coming up or other phone manufacturers are coming up. So the idea is simple, that whatever power or R&D or dollars we spend or efforts we put in, all the power comes to these existing units. So these existing units which are already there in the market or any new printers which are coming up, we make sure that all the product enhancements are to the limited number of SKUs, and there is a better ROI or better productivity out of these systems. So of late, we are investing heavily, not only on the printer side, printer is one component, but on the post-processing side. What we understood from our customers, that it's not about just the 3D printing. Customers are not looking for a 3D printer. 3D printer is a byproduct. They have a challenge, they need a product, and they need a solution. And solution is not just right out of the printer. Sometimes when we print something, we have to do a lot of post-processing, washing, curing, electroplatings or dyeing, painting. There are so many processes involved after printing. That's what our customers are interested. They're interested only in their product, what they want, what they intend to get out of the printer. So we figured out that no 3D printing company can give that product right out of the printer. So we have to focus more on the post-processing side of the technology, so that our customers get more value out of these printers. So last year we launched Fuse Blast, which is again an automated sandblasting system. Likewise, we launched few of the post-processing systems in the SLA space, so that the products they get are better. Another great point, 3D printers are everywhere these days, but we see that we are not there as of now into the production space. Everybody is talking about that. How do we take this 3D printing to the production side? But are we there yet? Answer is no. Partially, maybe a little bit, but not to the scale what we are looking for. With the new industries coming in, like for the talk about drones or EVs or IoT devices, these are not mass production industries. They need very customized products. So for all these industries, we need a 3D printers which can give them a very less turnaround time. So to achieve that, I think the two areas where we are left behind is speed and another is materials. So material, because end of the day customers demand materials to tune to their applications. Some of the customers, they have demand for EMI or EMC or magnetic things. Some electronic side, they want electrostatic dissipation properties. Some need high temperature materials. Some need very high strength materials for injection molding applications. So the complete game in the 3D printing space is about materials, speed and material. I think that is the key. How do we can make this whole additive manufacturing system to the production side? So Formlabs acquired one company 5 years back. It's called Spectra Polymer. We develop our own resins. We have close to 60 chemical or material scientists, engineers who are day in, day out, they're developing new resins for different applications. Any new customers, they come up with the new requirements. We definitely see the scale of that problem and try to find out the solution to it. So right now you see that this is one of the biggest portfolios we have across 3D printing industry. Formlabs has close to 45 plus resins. So we name the application, I think 90% of the applications can be addressed with these resins. We have some general purpose resins, kind of a white, black, gray for general prototyping and some of the end use applications. But very high strength materials in the rigid resin space are tough and durable for the automotive industry. Then elastic 80 or 50A with 80 shore hardness, 50 shore hardness, and so many resins. Last year we launched one resin called silicon. Now it was a breakthrough. No other company could come up with a solution in the silicon space. Everybody was asking that, how do we print silicon? Because it has a huge application in the industry. So we launched silicon last year. And then in the medical space, we have a lot of biocompatible resins for the surgical guides, or in the dental space for permanent crowns, temporary crowns, comfort resins. So we have the resin portfolio is close to 45 plus, and some casting resins as well. And I can assure you that this will grow like anything, because material is the only game left in the additive manufacturing space to bring it to the production side. Okay, I'll probably skip this. I would like to highlight here 23 was a very exciting one. We launched close to 15 different SKUs, and those were not in the 3D print. We did not launch any 3D printer in 23. Those launches were all around how do we make it more efficient. In terms of I talked about fuse blast, which is sandblasting system, an automated one. Materials, we launched close to 15 plus new materials just last year, and I can assure you that it's as exciting for the next year as well. We have exciting launches. Some automation system for the industry. Our customers were demanding that, we have 10, 15 printers for the production, but every time my engineer has to go take out the part from the printer, put it to the wash, cure. It's a manual process. We heard them. We came up with a system called Form Auto. It's an automation system for the many end production customers and some aligner guys. They are using automation system, and all the parts they're automatically coming up to they're taking out the parts, bringing it to the wash and cure, saving a lot of time and energy and efforts, and some other post-processing equipments. Yeah, again, 24, exciting. We started with a new product called Form 4. It's a completely new and bigger upgrade to our earlier generation desktop printer called Form 3 Plus. And we have a lot of exciting announcements whole throughout the year in terms of resins, some post-processing equipments, and definitely maybe some new printers also. As Anush said, earlier we used to think that only automotive and aerospace industry, I think they only adopt the additive manufacturing systems or new technologies, or any new innovation what comes in the market. I think these are the early adopters. But what I've seen, or maybe most of you agree with me, last 5-6 years, there's so much new things are happening. I talked about the industries like aerospace or EV space or consumer goods, consumer electronics. So many new companies are coming up, and only game for them to survive is one thing: speed to market. I truly believe that these are the technologies, 3D printing technologies, which are helping these companies to bring their products faster to the market. I remember 14 or 15, we met one of the Maruti R&D heads. He told that to make one product out in the market, it takes close to 4 years for Maruti, right from concept to engineering to bring it to the market. But that development time now is 18 months. And I hope you heard about these companies like Atomberg. It's there. The companies like Crumpton, are they doing anything wrong, or just that they're slow? And these guys, new kids out in the block, these startups, they're bringing products, I think 3x or 4x faster in the market, just by adopting new technologies and bringing the products faster to the market, making exciting designs, very flashy designs, what we see these days, and people get attracted to it. And that's how you see our customer base is not just limited to automotive or aerospace, but it's across, right, from education to skill development, consumer goods, electronics, and you name it, 3D printing adoption is already there. Yes, so thank you everyone. So now this is the day we are here to launch the Form 4. I'll just set the tone why Form 4 was important to us. How the game changed from Form 3 plus, what made us to bring in a new product in the name of Form 4. It was simple. I'll put in this. Internet is there for how long? Like more than 30-40 years. But how the game changed? Game changed when the 5G came into picture. That's how everything is on the internet now. Internet was there, but it's just the speed. When the speed came in, the industry kicked in. The applications came, right from groceries to ordering, Amazon's, car booking, everything is online just because of 5G and the speed. If I talk about, again, another example, EVs were already there 30 years back. I think maybe 15 years back. Hybrid car 20 years back. But the game changed when this guy came into town. He changed the industry. And it was just because of the user experience, the speed. And if I talk about, again, example of phones, smartphones were there. Smartphones were there. Maybe a handful of people were using it. But the game changed when this guy launched this phone. All the applications came in, how they transformed the industry. Everything is on the app. I think 90% of our jobs get done on the phone. So the affordable to the industry, all the expensive printers out there. For joining us. Now I would like to call upon Anuj, Mr. Arun, Dr. Hari, and Arpan. Please join us for the unveiling of the printer.
Amit sir. Harish sir. Yes. Thank you.
request Suman to take us through the product demonstration.
Hello? Yeah, hello everyone. So hope you have seen the product. So there are a lot of things that present in this product which are going to be a lot of surprises, considering if you have previously worked on an SLA based printer or a desktop based printer, and if you have not worked on this, so this is going to be something, a completely new experience to every one of you, indicating why this particular printer, we are setting up such a huge event to launch this particular product. So there is a lot of thinking about it, why this particular printer and what this printer is going to bring into the Indian market, considering to what we have experienced in very short span of around 2 months. So from its launch to till date, the kind of responses that we have got for the printer, it might be with regards to like competing to a printers which are worth crores. So where we are giving a tough competition to even such kind of printers, and we are also giving competition even to the tooling industry, where we can directly compete and now say that I can give you parts of like thousands of quantities in a span of less than a week span, depending on the size and geometry of the part. So overall, coming to the point, printer looks pretty good, printer looks very attractive, but why do we want to make another printer? Because the portfolio of Formlabs, what we saw before, the 10 years of journey, or the journey which Ramesh just told about the customer experience, what we have from SLA and SLS, both the platforms. So you will be carrying on one of a small print, which will be, let's say it will be completed in a span of 10 minutes. So let's see like how the print goes. So now the reason why to make another printer, even though we had a very strong portfolio, our printers were fast in the market, it was reliable so that we could print thousands of parts with the same accuracy of in all the parts, and this particular printer was also of low cost compared to all the other printers that we see in the market. But still, Formlabs felt like, okay, we need to come up with such a kind of printer which is going to give a tough competition with the giants of the 3D market, where we are going to compete with the industries and tell that, okay, this particular printer is also going to make sure that it can be a one step higher than what the previous printer used to offer. So these are some of the feedbacks from the printers for our previous products, which we had a pretty excellent feedbacks from almost 99% of the customers, which told them like this is something the best in the market can provide. And at the same time, we had a complete portfolio. We had a software which could do the job for us. We had a printer which could print the parts as per our requirement. We had even a post-processing setups like wash and cure, which you can also see on the right of the printer. So that's the complete setup what we had before, which is the printer, the washing station, the cleaning station, and our own dedicated software, which does almost all the activities that is needed. But in the same way, it also had got huge varieties of materials. And when I say huge varieties of material, I'm talking about 45 different kinds of materials. So somewhere down the line, it was in a point that, okay, the materials have gone to a much advanced level and the printer is not able to keep up with the kind of advanced materials that have been coming to the market. So with regards to materials and the quality, we were getting one of the excellent kind of finishes and also the transparency. We also did have a huge variety of materials.
We make more than the world's most trusted 3D printers. We make the highest performance materials in additive manufacturing. Since 2011, we've been developing advanced materials for demanding applications, so you can always produce the parts you need. Whether you want to make self-extinguishing electrical connectors to maximize safety, personalized products tough enough for all-day play, comfortable splints for better smiles, molds that move beyond metal tooling, lightweight parts that handle heavy weights, sturdy equipment ready for high impact, custom tooling to safeguard electronics, patient-specific guides to improve surgeries, critical components that withstand 1500 degrees Celsius, total design flexibility without molding or tooling, and anything else you can imagine. Power any breakthrough without the risk of failure with Formlabs' powerful professional 3D printing ecosystem. As the only vertically integrated manufacturer of 3D printing software, hardware, and materials, over 130,000 of our printers have been trusted by leading companies to produce over 300 million parts. Every material starts at our R&D headquarters, where our team of over 40 material science experts iterates through hundreds of formulations before sending them over to our state-of-the-art manufacturing facility. We produce all our resins with world-class quality assurance, including an ISO Class 8 clean room, where we push the dental and medical industries forward with our growing range of biocompatible materials. Our optimization engineers put hundreds of printed parts to the test to ensure each material performs to the most reliable standards right out of the box with automated print settings, so you can just press print for professional parts every time. We do all this because materials matter. They're the secret to 3D printing and the difference between your project's success or failure. We make better materials so you can focus on what you do best. Formlabs, so anyone can make anything.
Okay, so as I clearly mentioned, materials are the success of Formlabs. So when we have such a huge varieties of materials, we also needed to make sure that the printer what we have is capable enough to deliver the parts that are strong and fast enough so that we can go to a one level higher than where we were before. So we had a pretty good run from last 10-12 years, which talks about like all the three variants of our printers. So now in 2024, where we launched this Form 4 printer, so this is where we talk about giving a parts which are completely at a much faster and much speeder version. So Form 4 is blazing fast, which we have been talking about from the beginning. So it is having a much variety of speed. In fact, it's like almost 4 to 5 times faster than our previous version of printer. So in a way, like earlier, if you had to print a part and it used to take you around like 6 hours of time, you can now print a part and it's going to take you maybe a span of less than around like 2 hours of time. So it's almost equivalent to having 4 printers before, and then it can be replaced by 1. At the same time, it's also a versatile printer which can give you a numerous varieties of options. So all your materials, all the varieties of materials which we saw in the SLA can all be printed with the printer without any upgradation. So there is no any clause telling you that, okay, you can only print a particular grade of materials in a printer, and then if you want to print an engineering grade material, or if you want to print a material which can withstand higher temperature, or if you want to print materials which can be used for molding applications, there is no any kind of upgrades. So the printer what you buy can print all the varieties of materials, and at the same time we also do have a complete unmatched reliability, which talks about the repeatability of the part, which keeps on coming at a best of its quality at all the time. And then we also talk about the user interface. So this is the kind of printer where anyone in this room can be taught how to operate a printer within less than 15 minutes, and then you can become a pro for operating this. You don't require any dedicated kind of training. Our software is completely automated, so almost within just 2 to 3 minutes you will be able to grasp how the software works. Then in the span of next 10 minutes, so right now you saw my colleague coming over here and then moving. So what he did was like he made a complete changeover of the material. In fact, he changed the material from black to fast gray. He even changed the resin tank, and then he even set up the print. So it's like almost maybe spent hardly less than 1 minute over here, but a complete shift over happened over here in the time when he had come over here. And then so we have complete product video. So I'm sure like we saw the glimpse of the video and then the product in front of us, but let's see what's exactly in the printer and what are the complete products inside it.
Introducing Form 4. So fast, it will change the way you work. With most prints in under 2 hours. Iterate several times a day. With a proprietary release texture, flexible film tank, and ultra-high optical power. Produce parts that always fit, rivaling injection molding with 50 micron pixels, advanced pixel smoothing, and light touch supports. Achieve an unmatched print success rate with validated print settings, precision heating, force sensing, debris detection, and remote monitoring. Tackle any problem with industry-leading materials. With an upgraded mixer and dispense system that support highly viscous and filled resins. And do it all with a workflow anyone can learn in 15 minutes. with instant material changes, comprehensive software, and automated post-processing. Enter a new era of performance, built on our next-generation low-force display print engine, featuring a high-power backlight unit, light processing unit 4, release texture, and a flexible film tank, delivering extreme speed, reliability, and print quality. Now, anyone can perfect their products, keep production running, or improve patient care. The tool you've been waiting for, Form 4.
Okay, so there were a lot of things to grasp in it. We'll go one by one in it. But overall, it's a printer which comes with lot of advanced technologies, which talks about like lot of new things which in the market, and also as simple as it can get, there are also a lot of things which we don't have to worry about as an user. So just now the print has been started. You can see there's a small black thing which is moving around from left to right. So that's called as a mixer. We'll come to that. So now, with the printer's point of view, one thing that we are aiming for it is the scalable. So we did have the fast, reliable, and low cost in the beginning. But the scalability is something that we are aiming for with the Form 4. So we are going to concentrate on how we can scale this particular printer in a way that, okay, I am able to take this to a range, it can take me to a production series kind of level. And at the same time, I'm also talking about how this particular printer can even give competition to some of the tooling markets. So as the speed increases, so we can also be rest assured that most of our prints takes less than 2 hours of time. So suppose if you are planning to print any kind of new iterations, or if you are planning to do any kind of new builds, it might be from any variety or any industry's point of view. So this will be the kind of timeline. If you are planning to, our build volume of a printer is around like 200 by 125 by 210. If you're planning to build a complete build volume, it will be taking you somewhere close to around 5 hours of timeline. But considering you will not be going for the entire build volume of XYZ, 80% of your builds would be completed in a span of less than 2 hours, which earlier used to take somewhere close to about 10 hours of time. So now this is a huge comparison where we are talking about our own printers. We are not competing with something which is available in the outside market. We are competing with the printers from our own market. This is the 2 hours is the time taken by this particular printer. It was the same part which was removed just some 10 minutes back. And in the same part, if it was printed in our previous printer, it would have taken us more than 10 hours of time. So there is a huge kind of difference that we are talking about with regards to the speed, and also with regards to the finished point of view, or with regards to the materials point of view. There has been a great improvement. Our materials in this particular printers have gone a one version higher, which can give us a stronger strength, which can give us a stronger bonding between the parts. And this is something which has been very attractive to our Indian market, which we call it as the design iteration on a day-to-day basis. So usually we tend to take a span of around 3 days to design 3 different models, verify it, recheck it, do the fitment, and then come up with the best model. But here is a concept where I have this part at 9 AM, and then within some 2 hours of time I have my second version, and then by 2 PM after lunch I have my third variant. By evening I have got my fourth variant, which I can directly send it to my fitment. So this is something which is been, I would say, a game changer with regards to the doing design iterations for any particular production range, where you can do a lot of design iteration in a span of just 1 day. So sorry. So we are also getting a bigger build volume, so that our x-axis is kind of increased by around 22% longer, so that we are able to fit in longer parts which were supposed to be in this orientation in our before prints. And then we also have something called as the low force display. So we have completely changed the variant from our previous version to this Form 4. And talking about this, we have completely moved out from the laser, a point-based laser, to a something which can be termed as like a display kind of laser, where we have got a complete control of the entire build. So either we are printing one part or we are printing 10 parts of same time. So it's going to take you the same time. Let's say if I want to print a small part of 20 mm, and it's going to take me a close to around 40 minutes of time, and I'm going to print 10 parts of 20 mm, it's going to take me the same 40 minutes of time. That's one of the huge speciality of this particular variation, so that the display process gives me a huge advantage. So the things that are present in this, we call it as black light unit, light processing unit. You can just see on the screen, maybe when you come close by, you can even observe it. So we have got this particular variant in the bottom of the printer, which we call it as the black light. So what that particular process does is that it kind of releases the light, the LED lights from the bottom of it, from the main energy core, and then as soon as the power is released, then we have got a small processing unit which will dictate where the light has to pass through. So from the bottom there is an 100% light reflection, but once it reaches to a particular spot, what we call it as the light processing unit, it stops all the lights which are not required for my application and then just passes on the light only where it is required. So it can be considered in a variation like only the area where the material needs to get cured, the light passes through. And then we also do have a release texture. So this release texture has a small gap for the air to pass through. So it also allows us for the easy peel off between the layer to layer bonding. So once every layer is completed, so model has to be released and then a new layer has to stick on to it. So we do not want the part to absorb lot of peeling force during this process. So that is where there is a small air gap that is present in the printer's resin tank, which allows us for this option. And then we also do have something called as the areas where the focusing happens. Like for example, let's say as and when the printing keeps on happening, so we also need to focus on the point that the light that is being passed on to it, or the light where that is going to pass through. So the air passes through and then the peeling force happens, and as soon as the peeling force happens, so then the next layer gets bonded on top of it. So this is the resin tank inside which the resin will be done. So the first two steps what we saw is present inside the printer. So that will not be something that we have to worry about, because that is a part of a printer and it will be doing its job automatically for almost 1.5 millions of layers. So it might take a very, very long time for us to even look into if anything happens to that particular part. But this resin tank will be something that we will be looking into for our every print. We have to load a resin tank and then a part will be printed inside that. And then this is our resin material. So our materials have been kind of 60% compacted compared to our previous version of materials, and we can also say that we are even reducing the plastic usage by around 33% with this. And then there is a faster flow rate of the materials that passes through. Okay, please, is this finished? Okay. So these are the different variations of how a print engine works. So these are the 5 things what we discussed. Let's go from the bottom. So in the bottom of the printer, we have got something called as black light unit, and then we have got a light processing unit. These 2 things are hidden inside the printer. Release texture, so this is a kind of a small film which can be seen on the top of the printer's bottom shield, and then the flexible film tank which we will be replacing for every print. And then means when I say every print, like after every print we just take out the material and then use it again. And then we have got an intelligent control system. So this printer also has got an inbuilt camera. So we can also do the time-lapse video recording as and when the print keeps on happening. It will also allow us for live monitoring of the printer. At the same time, you get a very cool videos out of it. And then we also have got the resin handling system, which talks about like how the resins can be handled. So these are different sensors that are present inside the printer just to make sure that the prints comes out at a much better properties as ever. And then it also has to make sure that there is no error that is occurring. We have got a sensor for the mixer lock, we have got sensor for the heaters, and we have also got sensor for resin level maintaining. We have got the camera inbuilt, we have also got the force sensor. So each and every sensor will be activated when the print starts, and then it's going to ensure that we are going to get the best of the parts. So, and the print success rate. So this is something that we can say with confidence that we are able to launch the Form 4 in such a huge scale. It's the print success rate what we have seen. One of the main advantage of this print success rate has also been that, okay, earlier when the Form 2 launched around 10 years back, the success rate might have been around 50%. And then when the Form 3 launched, we have come close to around 80% of ratio. But with Form 4 launch, we are starting at where we left off with the Form 3. So that we are expected to grow more than 90% with the print success ratio, which is telling that, okay, we have Formlabs has done complete R&D that is required for the printer to come and launch it at a very large extent. And this kind of event is happening worldwide and each and every city, where we are focusing on why this particular printer is going to be a game changer. And then materials, as you saw before and also in the video, materials were something that was speaking very loudly about the Formlabs, and the printer was not capable enough to like look into almost 100% of its applications. But now we have got a huge variation of printers which talks about several varieties of printers, And then we also have a dedicated version for dental and medical and even for polyurethane and jewelry. So we have this particular printer can be termed as Form 4. We also have got something called as Form 4B. So if you are into medical section or if you are supporting into the medical field, even if you are looking into biocompatible parts, we also do have option for even the biocompatible parts as well. So these are some of the improvements what we have got from a previous version of materials, where earlier was of 53 megapascal, now we have got 62. So it's the improvement in the materials which has also come up to the market, so that we are now getting the advanced version in the lowest of cost. Considered even to our previous version of material, we are getting lowest of cost. One of the main reason for this, we have completely changed our resin cartridge, and changing that resin cartridge has reduced us in lot of ways. One, it might be with regards to the shipment of huge number of stocks together, or it might be with regards to the plastic wastage. So there are a lot of things done in it. Okay, and this is something which we discussed, like it can be done within 15 minutes, and this is how our software would look like if the multiple printers option to controlling of each and every aspect of the printer. Sorry. Okay, sorry. And this is the form wash. So once the part is printed over here, we then take it to the washing station, where we wash it in an IPA solution just to make sure that we remove all the material that has been attaching into it, and just to give a complete clean out to the material. And then once it is washed, we then cure the parts with certain amount of heat. So both the wash and cure are programmable. We can just set it to a particular timeline, so that exactly after the timeline the washing stops. And with regards to curing, we don't have to stay near the curing just to watch out, okay, I have to do it for 7 minutes or 10 minutes. You just have to select the material, and based on that material the curing happens automatically, and the temperature is set automatically from the system itself. And this is the removal of the supports. Once the part is printed, we do the washing, and then the washing is completed, we just take out the supports from it. So this is not something which we'll have to spend around like hours or even like 10-15 minutes. It hardly takes us somewhere close to around like less than 10-15 seconds, so that we can easily remove the supports easily, and then I can use this particular part. And in the areas where there are support marks, I can, if required and if it is needed for my application, I can even do a small kind of sanding and then get a very smooth surface finish. Overall, the part by itself looks as close to a induction molded parts. This is the curing station. And the Form 4B, as I mentioned, like this is something where we talk about like for the medical segments. So we do have a lot of things to discuss about with regards to what all the applications, what are the areas that we can bring into it. So here are some of the examples from users who have been using this particular printer of Form B. One of the things which they usually mention is about the speed, and from companies like Microsoft, where they say like within a span of 24 hours we are able to make a lot of design iterations, and company also, so they are no longer constrained by the time ratio. Or with regards to the Ford in automotive segment, where they say for prototyping the different design iterations wherever they need to get it done, because they have got around like 500 to 1000 plus design engineers who comes up with a lot of design changes. So once they do one design for one designer, and then it might take around like 2 to 3 weeks for him to do the second design. But in this way, they can dictate the timeline. At the same time, it also talks about build the tools that make it possible for anyone. Like this is something where we concentrate for each and every industries and for each and every individual. So there is no any particular restriction for who can be using this particular printer. So next we'll be having a in-depth panel discussion, where we'll be having few of the industry delegates who are using 3D printers exponentially in lot of areas, and then we'll be getting to know a lot about them. In the meantime, I would request you, like if you have any doubts, if you have any clarity to be done, kindly reach out, kindly come over here, or you can also come out and have a closer look at the printer for some time, so that we can discuss over here. I do believe, do we have some, Arsh? Okay. Okay, so, okay, Payal. So I'll give it to Payal to have a very healthy conversation with regards to the panel discussion, where we will get to know about lot of agendas and lot of pointers, what the industry experts think about the 3D printing and what the industry has to offer to the market. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Hello. Thank you so much for the in-depth demonstration. Obviously, we encourage everyone here to look at the machine maybe as soon as the panel discussion get over, we have more other sessions lined up for you. It's gonna be more another half an hour of panel discussion and then another half an hour of sessions. So till we have this setup ready, I would like to introduce our 3 panelists. The first one is Mr. Amit Kumar, second Mr. Dr. Harish Sir, and Mr. Arpan Ghosh. Please, can you join me on the stage? I am so pleased to introduce all 3 of them here today. In fact, I was so excited when Philipston told me that I would take up the panel discussion. I'll be the moderator. I think it's an honor to have a stage with such different personalities with years of experience in their own fields. To start with, I'll introduce Dr. Harish Kumar. He is a PhD holder from Guru Gobind Singh. His master's is in mechanical engineering. He currently works at National Institute of Technology, Delhi. His thesis were based on design and development of force transducers. Before joining NIT, he was also a former scientist at National Physical Laboratory. I have read so many papers recently while researching about him. He has more than 100 papers. He's worked with as a guest editor for Springer Nature, Advanced Science and Engineering Medicine, American Scientist Publishers, and the list goes on. Okay, please can we have a round of applause for Dr. Harish? Thank you, sir, for joining us today. The next speaker with us is Mr. Amit Kapoor. His description of number of companies he is a chairman and MD is huge. To start with, he is a chairman and MD at Nanobubble India. Nanobubble is basically into advanced aeration systems using nanotechnology. Other than that, he is again a chairman and MD for IOTA Water, IOTA Formlabs, Near Shakti Systems, and he is actually contributing towards research and development, quality manufacturing, and he believes in achieving operational efficiency. To continue about Mr. Amit, he's the first generation entrepreneur. He started his journey as an entrepreneur back in 1995. Wow, that's like a lot, 30 years. His graduation is from MIT. He joined his family business. The family business at that time wasn't even doing 50 lakhs per annum. But today, that company is more than a multi-billion dollar valuation, exports to more than 70 countries worldwide, along with supplying special application products for federal and state government of the top 5 nations. He's been awarded twice as National Award winner for Research and Development by Prime Minister Mr. Narendra Modi sir and Dr. Manmohan Singh. I think I can go on him, but thank you. I think that's really already in detail. The third speaker is a new age entrepreneur, the new age hero that we all should be looking up at, Mr. Arpan Ghosh. He's a founder and director at Gamma Rotors. As I talk about him, he's been building and flying UAVs over a decade. So as we say, the dreams are not seen just when you start your engineering journey, but it always gets seeded when you're just too young and you're just anxious to make a human droid. A robot could alias human actions to defuse bombs. At that point, he also came up with the first aerial bomb defusal robot, Alpha Droid, which eventually made him win CBSE National Science Exhibition back in 2013, and also got a Prime Minister's Award, Letter of Appreciation from government in 2014. Arpan finished his BTech from MIT University again back in 2018. As I said, he's a founder and director at Gamma Rotors. Gamma Rotors is constantly focusing on transforming complex technology into easy-to-use products. He's the man behind successfully products that are at the front of innovation and new age technology. Let's once more join me to welcome all of them. Thank you. Again, just to introduce myself, I take care of marketing at Formlabs. Thank you. Can we get more mics? More mics. Thank you. Okay. So when I was talking to Philip's team and we were discussing what questions ideally I should ask 3 different people here from 3 different universities with different background. The common answer was everyone is into research and development. They understand new age technology. They understand the meaning of adding Industry 4.0 into their recent and how do we grow more. So basically, they are not stuck with what they were doing 20 years back. And that's what interested me. To start with Amitji first, so because you come with great experience of 30 years with multiple companies you've been working in, I would actually like to understand how has 3D printing contributed in your journey, and what do you think about additive manufacturing? Where is it going?
See, I come with a wide variety of experience. When I joined business, that was a time of conventional shaper machines and lathe machines and milling machines. From that, we jumped on to the CNC machines. But before CNC, we had these NC machines, you know. So, and then the CNC technology took up, and it's of course developing day by day. And then finally, we came up to 3D printing, which is additive manufacturing. So, if you evaluate, all technologies are good. Even today, industries have lathe machines, conventional lathe machines, the shaper machines, the milling machines. It is the need of the job, the application, what is the product to be developed. That will decide which machining technology you have to use. So if 3D printing is there or additive manufacturing is here, everybody in this room doesn't have to jump to it. They have to ultimately assess the need. So why we got into it? So we got into nanotechnology, and we had applications where we had to produce nanobubbles, which are like 50 nanometers in size. And when I say 50 nanometers, it is 2,500 times smaller than a grain of salt. So we talk of those scales, you know. And to produce those kinds of bubbles, we needed very advanced fluid dynamics. That is what our company researched into. We are one of the 6 companies globally to have done it, 4 patents to our name. And all this was developed in the last 8 months, you know. Now, if you want such speeds of development, you need additive manufacturing, because you need to develop very complex parts, which no conventional machine can do. And you need to understand your product, what is the requirement. You need to understand the application. You need to select the material accordingly. So it is not only the machining method, but also the material science behind it. And that is what got us into 3D manufacturing.
That's great. Thank you, sir. And one point that you rightly mentioned is 3D printing or any new age technology is not really to replace the older technologies. Example that we say for injection molding too. We are here, in the sense, additive manufacturing technology is here to be friends with the traditional manufacturing. Everything can go hand in hand. It is not here to completely replace any of them. As you rightly said, the traditional manufacturing is still there, and they are doing the great jobs, no doubt.
So in fact, I would just like to add, our next, the research is, we are joining hands with Oxford, and we are trying to develop these nanobubbles for medicinal applications. So for drug delivery for cancer and stroke patients. So it will be a joint development with Oxford University here in India. So we're trying to establish a spin-off company. And I've already challenged you guys to come out with machines which are capable to give me those kinds of products, you know. So that is how the technology evolves. You know, it is the need of the hour.
So we need this feedback. I'm sure the HQ really loves listening to you, and that's how the Form 4 came, right? So I think that's more development to come in the upcoming year. To continue, I would like to ask next question to Dr. Hari sir. You come from a lot of research background and also have education institutes are now viewing 3D printing. Again, a lot more generic question where we would like to understand how academic institution and is looking forward to the new age technologies. How do you think is it going to help with the skill development?
So, good evening all. So being a National Institute of Technologies and IITs, they bear a bigger responsibility in the country. So whenever you look forward for technology education and science and development, you look forward to ISC, IITs, NITs, triple ITs. Thereafter, you look after other institutions. So major chunk of the government spending on technical education lies in this institute. So in turn, these institutions, which I call institution of national importance, as declared by Government of India, they bear a very bigger responsibility. So the mandate of IITs, NITs, triple ITs, IS, it is not simply giving the degree. Their main mandate is to keep themselves updated with the niche technology in all the relevant field. Their mandate, basically. For example, whether it is science, whether technology, whether management, whatsoever. So NIT Delhi, one of the 86 institutions which fall under the category of institution of national importance, is also stakeholder in the same, and being one of the premier institution in the country is looking forward to fill the gap in the AIR triangle. So A stands for academia, I stands for industry, and R stands for research. So if you really look forward to bridge the gap and integrate all the three vertices of a triangle, then ultimately NITs are not simply degree awarding institutions, IITs. You see their faculties are not simple faculties. Their faculties are basically scientists. And being academician, of course, their duty is to impart education. But at the same time, as I said, we have to keep ourselves updating and to fill the gap, so that whatever we are training, the upcoming technocrats, they are well conversant with the modern challenges and prevailing technologies to fulfill the industrial requirements. So ultimately, NIT Delhi is working on a very fast pace. And recently, NIT Delhi has established Center of Excellence in Additive Manufacturing in this area last year. So we are trying, because every institution cannot work in all techno domains. So the need that academic institutions or technical institutions must identify, there are 2-3 domains where they can serve as a leader and attempt to fill the gap. And they have to bring the next generation of technocrats in such a way that is going to help the country, a manufacturing leader globally. Thank you.
Sir very rightly has pointed to one beautiful acronym for all of us to take back home is AIR. I think that's really something new that I learned today. And the thing that he really focused well is on, they are making the future of our country. If everything, the seeding happens here, and the whole baggage of the manufacturing, the country's education, the scientists are created here. So thank you, sir, for contributing so much to the Indian growth. Coming to Mr. Arpan, as I rightly said before also, you come from the new age technology, the industry 4.0 that we all have been talking so much about. How do you think 3D printing again has been a major central role, is playing a major central role in drone industry, and how do you leverage it from your start of the career?
So to start with, additive manufacturing, I'll come to it a little later. The challenges when I entered the industry or when I started back in 2018, when additive was also picking up. That time, 3D printing, we were hearing machines from, we were hearing MakerBot, Replicator Plus, but we were not having confidence enough to, invest our money into it. So the challenge with our industry is you're not playing a volume game. It's a niche game. You don't need many parts. Quantity is limited. So if I go to any manufacturer and I take up that quantity name, either he'll charge the heaven, moon and earth to me, one, because I'm taking his production time, or the second, he'll just say no because your quantity is too less. That's where your evolution, your design, your iteration, everything is getting stuck. You're not able to move fast, but when we started adapting 3D printing or the additive manufacturing, we understood. We were a little hesitant because we had to put our deep pockets into it in order to invest, and for a startup to invest that kind of money and for your investors to have conviction to put that money into this technology also was something which was playing a very vital role. Then we invested, and the journey thereafter has been such and so that today we are all talking about very interesting things like there shouldn't be electronic waste and things like this. We in the drone industry were the only company who could have a digital inventory. For that, what I mean is, we not only adapted 3D printing, we got it into production. Prototyping was something where wherever we went, how is your prototyping? So prototyping was something which was the initial phase when what we were interested, or what my questions were for Form 4 was, what is the cost? What is the turnaround time? What is the strength? Because these are the points which play a very vital role for us. And additive manufacturing has helped us, change. So we are in a technology today where technology is not even changing year-on-year basis, not even month-on-month. It's like weeks. In a week, the technology changes. That's how this industry is rapidly growing. So if a new technology comes, had I been in the traditional method of doing it, and my dies, my molds were made into it, I couldn't have adapted to that. But now every part has a unique number. So if I change the design, suppose we are sitting in May and I go to June, I change my drone design, my customer would have services for the next 3 years also, but he would not get worried that he's changing his design, will I get my services, will I not? Because as we move forward, material would get better, printing speeds would get better, and the fit and finish would even further increase. So that is how you'll have to look. So any new age technology that is looking at, how to produce and to produce better, or to produce with a lot of, intuitiveness that, they want to deliver the best to their customers if they understand what is additive. And one more thing, whenever I speak to Anuj or anybody else, sometimes people say, our work is not getting done. There's a small change when you're doing it. You can't go the convention way and expect the additive to kind of fruit you those results. So your design language also has to change. You have to understand how that is working, and then you'll have to design. Like for a tooling, you think, this is how the tool will move. That is how you have to think how the machine would move and produce this part for you. Thank you.
As we rightly say, it's called as design for additive manufacturing, DFAM. That's one of the most important point that most of the people misses when they start working on a 3D printer. I think the very good thing that you pointed is additive manufacturing is a very classic example for drone industry where you're looking for hundreds of pieces. You won't be able to work with an injection molding or manufacturer, but you want to iterate very fast. So the technology match with drone industry sounds like perfect, made in heaven type of a story.
See, it's perfect when you want to make it perfect. There are drone players in the market who have, you name the printer and they have it. But
Right.
then you name the machine, they don't have it. So it's the other way around also.
Way around.
So you have to be, it is both sides. It's the industry and then it's your industry which is coming and joining hands.
Completely agree with it. Coming back to Amit sir, sir, again, with the shift that you've seen with 3D printing, before you were, maybe you were getting your services done outside. Now with your investment with in-house 3D printing, do you see a major shift of, I mean, how do you think your investment is fruiting you well? And also, does in-house manufacturing makes more sense?
See, ultimately, like I told you, it is a need of the product, the design. So, like in our case, we had designs which are, very, very advanced fluid dynamics based. I worked on conventional 3-axis CNC machines. I worked on 5-axis CNC machines. We used to develop dry screw vacuum pumps. Again, one of the 4 companies in the world to do that. We had dry screw vacuum pumps, which was a opposite of a screw compressor with a negative rake angle. We used to do that on a 5-axis CNC. And when we got into nanotechnology, our product demand was such that it could not be done on a conventional CNC machine, even if it's a 7-axis machine, So we had to jump into the 3D manufacturing space, and that is how we picked up. And then we decided that things move so fast that, like Arpan just said about the concept of digital inventory, which is a fantastic concept if you see from an industry perspective, especially when you go into production. And you can change design within hours, you don't have to wait for months. You print a part, test it. If you feel no, some tweaking is required, you print another part which is, little tweaked. If you're getting the results, so that is how fast it becomes. And even from production point of view, like we do all our production on 3D printers now. So, I mean, in this space of nanotechnology, we are gone with the conventional machines. So it's all 3D printers and CNC machines. Oh, wow. So it is ultimately the need of the product which needs to be, developed, which has to be come out. You can take it up for production, routine production. A lot of things are there, the scalability, the cost economics. If everything is justified, there is no harm. We do it and we say there is no harm in it. So
Great,
3D printing is the answer then.
Okay, thank you, sir. Harish sir, when we are talking from incubation center, startups that gets developed at the university, and also when we are talking from sustainability point of view, all of this together, how does the technology support it?
So, if we really see the past 1 decade, even before joining NIST, Gaithersburg as a scientist, I was honestly not aware about additive manufacturing. For example, I'm telling you, when I went there as a visiting scientist, being deputed by Government of India, to work for redefinition of kilogram, my work was quite conventional. And I was given the task to correlate macroscopic mass to the Planck's constant, which I already demonstrated at the feasibility study was done at NPL, so I went there to learn about something more there. So they one day asked me, what is your opinion about additive manufacturing? So that time I was clueless. So I could not tell my mentor there, Dr. Stefan, that I don't know about additive manufacturing. So what happened, that night I read about additive manufacturing. So when I met him next day, so I was having some idea about additive manufacturing. So he asked me, let's go to additive manufacturing division. So we went in NIST. So I was not aware about additive manufacturing, and those people were working for standards for additive manufacturing. So now, the question is rightly said, if the process is not sustainable, technology is not sustainable, then why there is need of standards? Why there is need of standardization for the same? So, in past 1 decade, if we really see, the development has been tremendous, particularly in additive manufacturing and its application, which I think every one of must accept here. So, is this development is really fruitful? This question every one of us can ask with ourselves. Every one of us is witnessing how additive manufacturing is really affecting our industrial products, industries, research and development, particularly as told by Mr. Anujji, very initially, additive manufacturing, we were thinking about only automotive products. But do we really see additive manufacturing is restricted to only to automotive industries or aerospace industry? Now you go everywhere and you find ample opportunities as an additive manufacturing engineer. So sustainability is a very big question. So how sustainability is going to be achieved in additive manufacturing? In past 1 decade, you see a wide variety of development on materials. Even I have seen the presentation given by Mr. Amnish. Last year, more than 40 materials have been launched by Formlabs. Why those materials are being launched? And very foremost question, why this form for printer is being launched? To improve the speed. This is going to increase your speed by more than 100%. So if a job earlier was taking 4 hours, so now we are able to do in 2 hours. So as said by sir, that within 2 hours, our technology can change. Our product can change, our design can change. So sustainability is about the ease of the economical ease, means affordable price. If I'm launching a product which is having 50 crore cost, then of course no one is going to buy. So affordability, availability of the materials, and the time. How much time you are able to save? Because whenever there is demand in industry, sometimes cost is not so important. So time is very important. So if we are able to achieve these 3 goals from any technology, of course we can think that technology is going to be sustainable. And in past 1 decade, all of you must agree that additive manufacturing has been able to qualify all these 3 criteria. So, and trust me, this is the beginning. A lot of things has to go in additive manufacturing, and people are generally confused, as said by Amit sir also, that this additive manufacturing is going to replace the conventional manufacturing. No. The wise usage of additive manufacturing is very important. If you are going to print nut and screw from a metal printer, it is of no use. Your cost will be too high. So wherever you can use the conventional techniques, you use it. I am giving a very good example. Here were some of the still helicopters and planes which are supplied by Russia. In 1990, the Russia got disintegrated, USSR. So now it is Russia. Some of the facilities were in Ukraine. And for past 2 years, more than 2 years, what is happening in Ukraine, you can't expect that they can make you supply of some of the component. So what is happening? That helicopters or planes may not work. Because if they require any spare, those are not available. So with the help of technology such as additive manufacturing, at least you can print those components. Recently, I am not going to share here the name of the company. Recently, Indian Navy had set up on-board 3D printing facility. Why on-board? Because when the naval ship is going for surveillance, it may be out for a month. It may be out for 2 months. So if any part, for example, is required, so it is not possible for it to come back. So those at least small utilities, inventories can be printed on board. So additive manufacturing is certainly going to be sustainable. Honestly, has achieved sustainability up to an extent. And this sustainability index, it is a new term which you may. So sustainability index is going to be improved for additive manufacturing in coming time. And of course, this is the biggest challenge for companies, and they are working only for sustainability. Because technology, a lot of technology have been developed. A lot of products have been developed. So now they have to meet the different index of sustainability, and you will be certainly be benefited by improved sustainability of additive manufacturing.
Wow, that's a very elaborative answer with such variety of examples. Um, since we have a little less time, I would like actually Mr. Arpan to give his feedback on what do you think about the Form 4 machine, the materials. I'm sure there are more details coming in, but from what Ramnesh, Suman, everyone explained about what this new machine is, what are your first thoughts?
See, Form 4 is all about speed. That is what I could make out. That is one. So any industry, any industry to multiply, it's drone industry or any industry per se you take, it's power, it's area, it's speed, it's accuracy. So if you're doing additive manufacturing, you've got your accuracy in place. Power is how much can you produce. Area, how much area is it consuming in your warehouse or your shed? Because that cost also somewhere adds up. You might have a bulky machine, but then you're paying so much in rentals that your cost is only not fitting in. So that plays a very vital role. So that ways, if this can produce what it is claiming, because today it's claims, tomorrow if we plan to purchase, we see if it is performing, that's when I can give you the actual feedback. But from what it appears to what it promises to what it delivers, if it does that, I guess it is going to give some serious competitions to a lot of players in the market. That is what would be my take on it. And again, one thing which is going on in the panel discussion as well, you have the traditional methods of manufacturing, you have the additive manufacturing. Every industry can't fit into additive. Even additive can't fit into additive. What I mean by that is, a reputed manufacturer was last week in my office trying to sell me a printer, metal. I asked him a simple question, you're selling me this. How much of your own 3D printers parts are printed in this? You please answer this question. The answer was 0. So when you are giving a technology or when you're trying to make it adapt, how much of that is happening in with your own printer is something that has put in deep thoughts into a lot of people today. So the point is power, area, speed. That is what if the printer delivers, you're comparing 2 hours, 3 hours. And before the panel discussion, I asked, see, speed is one thing very important. But some people like us come from very high accuracy. Weight plays a very vital role. And at the same time, reliability, because they're unforgiving environments.
Yeah.
If it is healthcare, you can't take a chance. If it is national security and your drones are flying at places where it shouldn't be flying also, you can't take a chance. So that plays a very vital role. So that validation, I guess, to say is, I'm excited with the printer. If it gets validated, I might as well become a customer. That is all.
That's great. Thank you. In fact, just to add to what you just said, with this printer and even our previous generation, there are minimum 5 parts that I'm very well aware of, or maybe there are more, I'm sorry. They are 3D printed on our own printer and they are used in this. I think maybe Ashwat after this panel discussion might be able to answer this more in depth, but I'm very well aware the mixer, the cartridge top, they both, and there are 3 more parts inside which are 3D printed on our own Formlabs printers and are used worldwide.
So Payal, Arpan's order is confirmed.
Ramnesh is happy here.
We are also happy because next time these parts go off, we'll print it ourselves.
Oh wow. Okay, maybe I would like to actually conclude the panel discussion at this point, but please, if all of you would like to add anything more as a closing remarks, please, thank you. If Amit sir, you want to start with.
See, the main factor for any technology to pick up is, affordability and scalability. This is what I feel. 3D printers have been here in this space for a long, long time. And if I'm not wrong, the initial 3D printers, the costing used to be something in crores. And why Formlabs is doing well is probably because they made it affordable. And of course, they're trying to make it scalable, And now, like we told you, we do nanometers and you can print houses. So you have the complete spectrum to yourself. And that is how the technology builds up. So I think it is here to stay. It is, just on the rising curve. And we will definitely see a lot of advancements in the 3D printing technology, especially with a lot of material science building up on a day-to-day basis.
Thank you, sir. Any more closing remarks?
See, as long as the advancements, the company, as the OEM, they keep doing, and they keep bringing up new things. So you're basically every time unlocking new possibilities for us. So I guess when you when you're able to get onto the uncharted territory and you're able to bring us materials which are alien, for us it's alien, like different material properties which would fit in different environments. And of course, affordability is a very important factor because today value for money, it is in every industry which is valued the most. So that is going to play a very vital role. Whether it is you producing parts, how much is that costing versus how much is the machine that is producing costing. So both will go hand in glove.
Completely agree to your point. And just to close this panel discussion, firstly, I would like to actually thank the audience. They have been quite cooperative, listening to us. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Hari sir, Amit sir, and Arpin for joining us today. I'd like to call Mr. Rathod sir to actually help us with some gifts for our panelists. Thank you. Okay. Thank you, sir. We actually want to click more pictures, but yes, we are running a little late. I would call back Suman again to continue with the presentation. Firstly, we assure we will make sure that this whole presentation gets over by 9:15. Okay. Thank you for your patience. Just last 30 minutes. Thank you.
Hello. Yeah. Okay, so I hope the panel discussion was very encouraging and we got to know a lot of things that we could think about with regards to from three different mindset and from how a different perspective think about the additive from a very in a extrude manner. So now before I begin with, so I would like to show one couple of parts which have been printed and placed in the printer. So this is one of the part which comes with all of our Form 4 printers. This is something we call it as our service kit actually. It's a very small, but there will be two Allen keys and there will be a small cleaner setup which is required for, which is sufficient enough to do the complete servicing of the particular printer, and it goes in. And then we also do have a small mixer and a small holder of the mixer. If you can look at the banner which is on the right side of the all, you can see that there has been a slight comparison, there has been a small part, there is also a time that is mentioned and one of the time is circled. So I like to play a small video of that just to make sure, okay, everybody, we come back to the slides. So I'm not going to stretch it long, I'm going to finish it as soon as possible. So this is something where we talk about, okay, can a 3D printer compete with an injection molding machine? 90% of the time or 99% of the time we say no, but there is a slight amount of chance where we can say yes, this particular Form 4 printer with a bunch of it can give a tough competition even to injection molding setup. And it might not be happen in all the cases, but in some of the cases where we can design the part for the 3D printing, where we can think of 3D printing as an application, where we also feel like not all parts needs to be 3D printed, just like what we heard from panel D discussions. So we can think about couple of areas, and one of those area was the mixer of our printer. So I would not say that all the 100% of our printers carry these 3D printed mixers, but I do have seen lot of mixers which are 3D printed and fitted in the machine, and they're performing equally well at the same ratio. So it's a small video that gives us a clear comparison between the two machines and two units. This is not for a very huge setup kind of thing. This is something where we are talking about a small scale injection molding machine compared with 4 of our Form 4 printers. Volume. This side-by-side comparison happened in the presence of the Formlabs and also with one of the small injection building service bureau in Taiwan. So this is not a competition kind of thing. This is something where we are trying to say that in some of the cases, with regard to the speed, we can give a tough competition, and also with regard to the manufacturing. So here what we saw was the mold completely being ready and then starting the production. But if we take one step back, for the time required for manufacturing of that mold is something which we cannot exactly say the timeline for. But with regards to 3D printing, I can definitely say it's going to take me less than 5 minutes of time for me to set up my print. I do not have to wait for any kind of molding, or I do not have to wait for any kind of pre-work that to be done for me to start with the printing activities. All I require is source the material and then begin with my printing. So this was just a small comparison, and then this is the values that we can talk about for printing thousands of lattices, where the timeline is like less than 7 hours. So it's like maybe if I start in the morning 9 and then by evening 5 I'll be having thousands of components with me. So this is something where I can say that I can produce thousands of parts in just my working timeline. At the same time, this is also something that we can use for our entire product line, which we are talking about from the design iteration to the planning and the concept generation, and taking it to the next level like developing, manufacturing, and also a very important process which is called as the servicing aspect, where we need a complete component which is required within a few fraction of minutes or maybe within few couple of hours, and then it might not be a permanent solution for us, but at least a small temporary solution so that it can be used till the time I get my permanent part sourced from my vendor. So even that can be the kind of concept that we can apply to. Here are a couple of stories from the customers and users who have been using the 3D printers in a wide variety of manner. So one of those customers is in Subcom, where they are using it for manufacturing their end-use components, and they are using two of our engineering grade materials called as tough and rigid materials. So the name tough states that okay, this particular material is going to be tough in its nature. At the same time, it is going to be stiff and sturdy. It is having a very good tensile modulus. With regards to comparison, I can compare it with regards to ABS, or in some categories even better than the properties of ABS. So ABS, as you know, is one of the well-known plastics that has been used in numerous plastic applications. So this particular material can give me a replacement for such kinds of materials. And then the second material is the rigid 10,000 material. So this material is so rigid that if I compare it on a plastic strength table, so this even comes close to even better than the aluminum. But the only way it drags behind is with regards to the impact strength, so which is giving me some amount of limitation for me to take it to all the applications. But one of the applications where this has been proven to be a successful result is with regards to the preparing of the molds for injection molding, where we have to make a small scale production. Like let's say I just want to make 10 parts for my initial prototyping, but that particular part has to be of my exact material. I cannot change the composition of my material because I need to supply this part to an organization who do not compromise on the material, and that might be a combination of 20% of ABS and 5% of glass field and 20% of nylon field, all the combination together, I can have that material and I can 3D print my mold and then do the injection molding for a couple of parts and then get the end product. So this material can also be used for such a kind of applications. And you can also see the values of this particular, we have reached the exact 10 in flexural and also in tensile, but with regards to the impact we are still lagging behind, but I'm sure like the Formlabs materials engineering team working on like lot of application ranges, there should not be any kind of surprises if we expect a material which reaches a complete rectangle. So these are some of the parts that have been printed, and these particular parts which are printed are directly assembled and then it is being used for the camera housing and battery cases. So this is not something where we just look alike, feel a part, but this is something where we are doing for ocean applications, and this is placed inside an equipment and then it is sent out to its end usage. So these are the parts that are printed. You can see on a table like close to around 15 parts are printed in one shot, and then it's a kind of like a production run where it can be close to thousands or even more than thousands of parts based on our requirement. And then the second example would be from foil drive, where they print close to around like 30 to 40 different parts on a single setup. So this is something which takes us to a very huge extent. And the clear materials what we have, it's like, I would say it's almost 95 to 98% transparent in nature, which gives out most of the activities where we need to look into for the see-through applications. We also do have a material which is high temperature material which can withstand up to 238 degrees of temperature. And when we say 238 degrees of temperature, it is like almost superior than any of the regular standard plastic what we see in the market. At the same time, this can also give us the advantage of being used in direct heat applications. And then not only the rigid and solid, this printer can also print the flexible rubber grades material. And as I said, we do not have to make any kind of upgradation, or everything is possible with this same printer. So these are some more examples with regards to the kind of parts that can be printed, and the applications, like it can also be used as for in the assembly line for the end-use tooling applications, or a small kind of gripper balls as examples, or it can also be used for doing a small connectors. So we do have a lot of customers in the electronic industries, because this particular printer can also print in materials like EST safe material. So that suppose in some cases we need electrostatic applications, so I can directly load that particular material and start with printing of that. And it can also print FR related material. So as I said, there are 45 different grades. So I would definitely be very encouraging to discuss with each and every one of you. We can meet up and then we can discuss on the different materials option with regards to the applications, because whenever we talk about any industry application, as much as the product, it is the material that plays a very major role. So, and then as I said, like we have got 40 plus different materials, so we might have an exact material that you might be looking for your application. And this is an application for, let's say, forming of that exact carbon fiber grade parts. So we don't need to have a carbon fiber grade actual pour in resin. So we can have a part that is completely 3D printed, and then we can lay up the fiber, and then we can cure it, and then we can have the particular shape that is required for us in the carbon fiber, or the injection molding application what we saw in the video. So one of the reasons why we say the Form 4 is big change, once again we come back to the same spot, which is like it is the fast, it is reliable, it is cost, it is scalable, and then the as-well-play workflow. So as you are seeing from the last 2 hours, the kind of operation that we have been doing on the printer, we are hardly spending a time of around like less than 2 minutes to 3 minutes, and then every part is getting started. And in the meantime of we've printed with 3 different materials in this particular printer, and we have printed around like 3 different kind of parts. The first part was an enclosure, the second part was a small gear connection, and now the current part what we are printing, we decided to print a small gear. So the one quantity was taking me 53 minutes, then we decided to print 20 quantities. So the time that's taking for 20 quantities is 54 minutes. So it's just 1 minute increase for my 19 extra quantities. So that is something which this printer provides, which we could not expect from this printer previously. So there has been a huge shift with regards to how I can utilize this printer, and this is not talking about only the gears. Let's say for example, I need to print 3 gears, I need to print 4 enclosures, or I need to print 2 kind of small lockers. I can load everything together if it fits in my build platform, and I can start my printing. So I don't have to worry about that printing of 2 different parts. Only the materials has to remain same. The kind of parts that you print can be of like as your choice. Okay, now I think we had a long discussion about the liquid technology. So if you would like to ask anybody any questions, please you are welcome to ask the questions. So at least I think we can take up some 2 to 3 questions so that we can discuss about what exactly is the main query that's in your mind, so that we can discuss on that. Any questions on the SLA process or the Form 4 product from what you have seen on the slides right now, or the slides what you had seen before, including everything? Biocompatible, yes sir. So biocompatible, we do have around 10 different grades of materials. Like we have got materials which can be used even for our during the operation surgical treatments, that can be used for like the surgical guides, or these materials can also be used in extent where we are having flexible rubber grade material in which we can pass through some amount of the materials that is completely biocompatible in nature, and then it can be then passed into a human body. Or in the dental segment, we have got a huge variety. In fact, Formlabs has got a separate vertical called as Formlabs Dental, which talks about a huge variety. Like for example, we are able to print the dentures in a span of less than 9 minutes. So printing an entire set of 6 dentures in a span of 9 minutes is now kind of like you go to any dental appointment and then you ask for any aligners. So now that complete aligners would be done in a span of less than 2 hours. And 3D printing will be a span of around 10-15 minutes, and then the scanning activity would be around 15 minutes, and then the doctor would take around like 30 minutes to discuss with you. So earlier, which used to take, like they used to apply clay, and then they used to lot of things, and then you need to go to the dentist for 3 to 4 times. Now it is all done in a span of less than 2 to 3 hours. And before Form 4, the Form 3 what we had, that used to take somewhere close to around like 1.5 hours of time. So now that 1.5 hour has been reduced to, let's say, around 9 minutes. So with regards to biocompatibility, this is the Form 4. We also do a Form 4B where the biocompatible materials can also be printed. Ceramics, okay. In this particular printer, we also have something called as material called as alumina, which is an ceramic grade material which can withstand up to 1500 degrees. Like for example, for you and for anywhere, suppose if you are looking into applications of printing ceramics, but the only fallback in that is once you print a part, so this particular curing station what you see, it is not so high and compact enough to cure the material to very high level. Maybe once the part is printed, you will have to heat treat it in an oven. So if you have an heat treatment process with you, you can do it in-house. So once it is done, the part that you take up can withstand up to 1500 degrees of temperature. So now let's say you are into you want to make some welding fixtures, and you are going to make and you're going to apply heat, and that heat will cross around 1200 degrees. So it's not fact to say that even most of the materials will not able to withstand 1200, 1300 degrees, and in those applications the alumina material printed in our Form 4 can withstand that. Yeah, any more questions? Okay, so once we complete it, I would welcome you all to come near the printer so you can experience the printer. I hope by the time I finish, even the parts would be completed so that you can also have a look at this. Okay, now this was all about the printer through my lab. So we also have one small particular product towards my right. So this is a powder based printer. Okay, so you might have seen a printer which occupies half of the room, or which occupies a space of around like 5 meters by 3 meters. This is a printer where you can set it up in a space of just 1 meter by 1 meter, and then it can do you the same job of what that particular printer does. The only difference in this is the build volume is around like 160 by 300 in size. So this particular product is something that Formlabs launched around like 4-5 years back, and this has been so successful in the market where not everybody wants to print a part which is 500 mm in size. There are almost 70% of the crowd who wants to print parts which are less than 100 mm in size. But in this, what we saw, I can print 1000 parts in a span of 6 hours. Considering there were a lot of evaluation done on that particular part, challenges which were taken care, I can get it done. But if the part is too complex, if the part is such a part that I cannot get the supports out of it, or if the part is too intricate and I need to make sure that there is a internal log which cannot be manufactured in any other manufacturable process, So this printer can do us that kind of jobs. There are few parts. I welcome you all to have a look at it. So this is our particular printer. There are few small scale printers, and there are printers which actually has a huge variety of higher standards, which talks about like printing parts which are of like more than 500 mm in size. So these particular fuse, so the name of the printer is Fuse, and it comes with a complete package. We are not just giving you the printer. With regards to the liquid technology, how we are giving you the printer, the wash, the curing station, even with this particular printer, we will be giving you the printer and cleaning setup station, and then a blast setup station which will do a complete automated cleaning of the parts without you have to spend your time for cleaning of the parts. So the working process will be, the laser will be applied on the powder. So wherever the laser light falls, the powder will get sintered and then cured with each other. So now there are a lot of internal things, but just going straight forward to a small video.
SLS 3D printing, a powerful tool. First made accessible by our easy-to-use printer that created the fastest growing community of SLS users in the world. But lately, the world demands we iterate faster than ever. So we made our next generation printer twice as fast. Introducing Fuse 1 Plus 30 Watt, a compact SLS printer with an industrial punch. Unlock same-day printing with industrial-grade materials and nitrogen purge compatibility for in-house carbon fiber printing. Building on a reliable end-to-end workflow, Fuse 1 Plus boasts a powerful 30-watt laser that sinters prints in hours, so you can start and finish parts the same day. Re-engineered components enable the use of exclusive materials and enhance mechanical properties across our entire materials library. Plus, we reached a major milestone, zero waste printing, enabling lower cost per part so you can deliver maximum output and minimum waste, while providing whatever the world may need tomorrow and today. Fuse 1 Plus 30 Watt, industrial quality parts in hours, not days.
So even here in this printer, we have got two main agendas. One is the speed of the printing, and second is the compactness of the printer, which can be utilized in even the most, like even in a design lab studio. So it does not require a kind of production lab kind of setup to be placed. I can even place this printer next to me during my working condition, and I can operate the printer. So the power required will also be a single phase power supply, so I don't have to bring in a lot of used power consumption. So overall, what Formlabs produces or provides is something which is compact but most efficient point of view. So this is an overall representation. So we can also have a closer look once you are near the printer. So we have a build chamber inside which the part will be printed, and then we do also have a small laser setup from which the laser light falls on to the powder, and then we have got a control panel which does all the controlling, and then behind the printer we have got a lot of electronics which does lot of activities. And this same printer is not just for printing small tiny toy kind of parts. This can print parts with several varieties of materials which even the giants of printers cannot produce. Being a small and a compact printer gives us a lot of advantage to explore on the materials and to be successful with it. So I would say that this is one of the printers which can successfully print PP, polypropylene kind of material successfully, and don't have to worry about any kind of external source affecting it. This is one of the printer which can print nylon plus carbon fiber field. You might have seen lot of parts with nylon plus glass field, but this is a printer which will be printing with nylon plus carbon fiber. And one of the advantage for printing that is like it has to be printed in an organ and atmosphere with using nitrogen, and this printer does it so well, so we don't have to worry about any other risky factors involved in it. So the concept will be same. The first concept will be preparation, and both our SLA and SLX works on the same platform of preform software. You don't have to learn two separate software. And then we start with the printing, and then we monitor it, and then we have something called as defoundering, which is the sift station, and then finally the blast, which does the automatic cleaning. So with regards to the fuse, it is live throughput, zero wastage, industrial materials. So we have got screen, a live camera feed. This is live camera feed on the screen, which keeps on telling us what's happening on the build platform, so that if you feel any kind of variation or any kind of defects in the print, even that can be seen on over here. So we do have a lot of error detectors which will indicate the errors if any of them occurs. So we have got a 30 watts yttrium fiber laser which is used for printing, and then we have got quartz tubes, and then the swappable build chamber. So one of the advantages of swappable build chamber is once the part completed, so which is going to take, let's say, around 10 hours or 12 hours of our time, it also has to cool down. So the cool down once again takes around 6 to 8 hours. So you do not have to wait for the 6 to 8 hours of time. You can just open the build plate, then you can just remove this entire build chamber, load in a new build chamber, and start with the printing with the new build chamber. And whereas this build chamber can be left in a cool place for it to cool down, and then once it is cooled down, you take it to our fifth station. With regards to printing software, we load a part. Okay, I think the beginning is interesting. Let me go back. Yeah, you load one part, you go over here, select 50 more, 50 parts get generated, and then once the 50 parts get generated, you just click on layouting. So the packing of the parts happens, and you also give what is the space required for the packing, and immediately it comes down. So now you have got capacity to load 30 more. So you can think about how you are going to play with this, and then this is the shift station. So the chamber what you remove, you load over here, and then the particular parts automatically comes up like a cake. Then you clean it using the blast. So these are the 4 different materials, what we call it as the nylon category, nylon 11 and nylon 12 with glass filled and carbon fiber filled. So nylon 11 would require to be printed in a nitrogen environment setup so that your parts would come out at much better and stronger environment. And then the nylon 12 categories can be printed without any nitrogen setup, which can be printed with the regular air that is present inside the printer. Then we also have the capability to print with rubber, the TPU grade materials, which can be used for shoe insoles or for any of the rubber applications. And finally the polypropylene kind of material, which can be used for applications which talks about like regular daily usage of polypropylene what we see in the market, especially the bottles which is having a thickness of less than 1 mm, but you can still print a part and have a good flexibility in the bottle. At the same time, the bottle will not crack or the bottle will not break up. So the industry focus, as we have been telling from the beginning, the industry has been very diverse, and we do not concentrate on any one particular industry, because 3D printing is such a domain where we can concentrate on each and every vertical, each and every domain, and we don't have any restrictions with regards to where this can be utilized. Either it can be from manufacturing or it can be from art and design. So we go from all to all. So we do have a couple of other case studies. So this is one of the case study which is being used for a night vision camera. So you can see the structure of the part. So we directly print this particular part, and this particular part can then be utilized for our end use application, or it can be used for an applications where customer using both the SLA and SLS concept in-house hand in hand, where they develop this kind of enclosures using the powder based printer and small gadgets using the SLA liquid based technologies, or even for the robotic arm kind of applications, where we have seen automation has been one of the major thing which has been dominating in the 3D printing domain. So a small clips can be printed and then attached. Then once again we go to the automotive domain, where we are talking about printing of parts which are of several different verticals. So we can print a part, post-process, paint it, and then it can be used even in our luxurious vehicles as well as a customized product. And one of the major trends has been the robotics, like the mini cobots robots, where it has been almost like thousands of parts are being printed and then assembled into it. We also do have a lot of customers in India who are doing the robot for Amazon and for other e-commerce companies, where they use 3D printing to a very large extent. And even bigger parts, even if you're talking about a build volume of 160 by 160 by 300, we can occupy the entire build volume, and then we can even print a bigger scale parts even in this. It's not only dedicated for printing smaller parts, we can also print very lengthier parts. And the production setup, you can see the printer placed next to each other. Like on this particular stage, I can place around like 6 printers, and then I can even freely walk around. So I do not have to worry about like each printer being placed next side to each other. It can work flawlessly without any troubling. And with one last example with regards to TPU, where the rubber grade material can be used for like the gripper. So we do have a lot of things with regards to the materials, but for now I would like to say thank you for all your patience. So you have been a really an absolutely great crowd. Welcome for your questions. I know it's been pretty late, but if there are any questions, if you would like to ask, welcome for it. Or I would like to call upon Rajkumar. So I think he has done a great job in inviting each and every one of you individually. So I would like to invite him for giving the word of thanks.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much. You all are here and blessed us. Thank you so much. I would like to thank my team, application team, marketing team, and you all. My special thanks to our panelists, Mr. Kapoor, Dr. Haris, and Mr. Arpan Ghosh. So, Anu sir, can I request something? Like if we can offer something, if somebody can book their order. So we can have some offer for you. So you all are innovators and you have traveled just to get something, just to achieve something. So we really appreciate this. Thank you so much.
Okay, so we are open for questions, but at the same time, the gates are open. You can start with the dinner. The machine is also here. We have Form 4, our SLS Fuse 1 Plus, and also the older version of SLA machine. Please have a look around. You can ask questions right away. We are open for discussions. If you want to move out, we are completely okay with that too. Thank you. As I said, the questions are open. You can rightly come here near the stage or ask any one of us from Philips team, from Formlabs team to come to your place and discuss more.
1000 shots, a minimum of 1000 shots. It has been tested till 1000, even a great efficiency can be like using